Mary Margaret McBride has been a gentle trailblazer all her life. While most of her friends were looking for husbands,
Fronczak.
she left Paris, Missouri to track down news beats as a
This
reporter in New York
proves
City during the Roaring '20s.
Reincarnation.
Beginning in 1934, she spearheaded radio journalism by interviewing ex-convicts
All
and
I
statesmen,
ask
burlesque
is for
queens and
folks to
society
be
matrons,
open-minded.
with a single-minded dedication that gave her virtually
Talking
no time
about
at all
a
for private life.
Spiritual
Let's try to find
match.
out, among other things, why she has done it. Mary Margaret, according to the Kansas City Star, on March 13th, 1955,
It's in the little
said on the evening
quirky
of March 12th,
movements
1955, out in Kansas City,
that past lives, past
"Had I married the
incarnations
first man I was engaged to and
can
settled
be
here in Missouri, I
identified,
would have made my children
and without
miserable.
doubt,
I would have reminded them that if it wasn't for them, I'd be famous
without
in
much
New York." Now
doubt,
then, why, seriously now, why was being famous here in New York City so
the timing
far out
of the
important?
quirks,
Don't you understand that? Any ham
the
understands that.
similarities,
You understand it.
You're confessing to being a ham and you're calling me one and the same.
the similarities in career,
And that was it. How I got to be a ham, born on a farm in Missouri.
the similarities
I
in
don't know, but I did.
Midwest
And it was
banality
the one thing I wanted, to be
of
famous.
evil.
And yet, at the same time, you were willing to sacrifice
She
a
wanted
lot
to be
of other things
famous.
for that hamdom.
But I
This
didn't
is
know.
like
I didn't know
the
it was
mother
sacrifice.
of talk
It was so
radio,
important.
apparently.
You don't know at the time.
The drive was there. and
I
you
know
paid
some
it.
of you out there going, oh wow, I see that.
Some 30, 35 years
It's
later.
in those
But you're typical of a
moments
good many career women who have chosen
that go on for
career
more
instead of the
than a
family.
moment,
You once said, Mary Margaret,
but
and
for
this was
brief
in the
moments.
Women's Home
Like right
Companion
there,
April of
that
49, you
is
said,
an
"My program
extended
for my whole life." And though you admitted that it was a
soul
temporary kind
fold.
of thing, you described your
Some
interviews
people
on
do
radio
chin
as
holds,
conversational love affairs.
trying to keep their
Now then,
jaw and
have these
chin in
conversational
place.
love affairs been worth devoting virtually your entire life to?
So
You
Faran
ruined me down, Mike.
Fronczak, she's an old soul.
Well, you had
The
me
years
on
add up.
one other time when you
The
were
numbers
local,
crunch.
And I said that they had been enough. Now I'm not so sure.
This
I think you
woman
just wore me
died
down.
in
I had you
1976.
on the local show about 6 months ago.
Yes.
At that time, you were convinced that everything was fine. It had been worth it. Now you really mean that you changed your mind?
I really mean that I wonder about it, and I suppose I always did wonder about it.
I make the same
I think
claim
every woman
about that
wonders.
co-host
But
with
as you know,
Sam
my
Cedar.
life has changed somewhat.
She's an
I
Irene
have
Dunn.
a business
Oh,
partnership
uh-oh.
that,
Sorry about that.
well, that kept me going.
That was a total
That's the kind of
mistake.
thing I was doing. Made it possible.
That was supposed to go in
I'm
the
a tough person.
You're not?
corner.
I'm the kind of person, Mike, who absolutely says to you or anybody else what I really think at the time. And in business,
This is only
and
just
in
getting
television,
started.
and radio too, you don't.
I'll clean
You
that
say a
up
dozen other things first.
for when this
And then
continues.
finally you come to whatever is your real
If you see me
answer. I don't
playing
know how to
camera
do that.
tricks,
Well,
it's
now, Mary Margaret,
because
I think
I'm
perhaps we're
limited
arriving
to
at something here.
5
You said
minutes.
6 months ago.
I
One
use
thing, you
a
changed your
demo.
mind a little bit. Is it television that has got you down? Here was a woman who, for a
There
period
she
of a quarter
is.
of a century,
Oh, now it
talked
works,
virtually
actually.
everybody in the United States of consequence had a chance to talk, to draw them out, and so forth. You were the
She
first
used to be
lady of
quite the looker.
Is the
Very talented.
of fulfillment now
Very
due to
deliberate
the fact
face.
that television has not proved to be your great golden road?
I think probably. But I think just
That's
because,
not
you
helping.
know, Stelicon fended off the blows.
This
the things that you
backfired.
have to take.
Oh, there she is
Faran,
down
of course, was
below.
a good friend and manager for years and
I
years.
think what I'll try to
Yeah,
do
I
is
did
better
about 2.5
crop it
months
out
ago.
as this
And,
continues.
When
This
I,
woman was a
talked
tool.
to you, I knew she was very
She was
ill,
like a
but
female
I didn't know
Johnny
that she
Carson
was especially ill. I thought she'd beat
beyond
this
back
and
in the
cancer.
day,
And
in the 20s.
I was talking
30s.
then about what I really love. I do love the job. I love interviewing people. I love those
She
love
seemed
affairs on the air.
to have
The kind of fame,
hit
kind
the
of
end
career
run
that you pursued,
when
Mary
TV
Margaret,
took off.
Was it not at all a lonely life for a woman?
I'm not sure.
Yes.
Has it not been? And has the one been worth the loneliness?
That's going to be
Has the
it.
been worth the loneliness?
5
It was
minutes.
up to a point. Now I'm not sure.
This
That's
proves
what I'm
it.
trying to say. I'm just in a very uncertain state of mind, and I'm not sure whether I think that those 20 years
So we're
when I was
reincarnated.
interviewing people
That's
was
interesting.
very worthwhile. I worked till all hours, and
I don't have any
and
doubts
then people
anymore
would pity me.
after
They'd say, "How do
watching
you
this.
do this? You never have any fun. Why don't you have fun? What's life for?" And I would kind of pity myself a little. I'd think, "Gee, why
This
do I do
woman
this?"
mailing it
And
in
then one time I just
as a
analyzed it,
thinker.
and I suddenly knew this is what I like. I do this because it's the thing I like.
Because
I used to have my
you were
office in my home. I
famous
used to broadcast
and
from
made a
my
lot of
home,
money.
and it was wonderful for me when they all got out. And I was there alone with my books for the next day and the guests.
Now look
They
who
weren't
she
there, of course,
is.
in person, but they
That
were there
woman
with
who
me.
was on
And for
Russia
24
Today.
hours,
Now
they
she's with
were
that
my
backwater
study. They were everything to me.
Oz.
And then I could put them on the air.
They
and
got
out there I knew
a
were my
community
real
strike
friends who
from YouTube
wanted to hear about
for
these
using the
people.
title.
They write me to this day, Mike, that they
I think
now
they're calling
know
themselves the
famous
C word. And they got
better than
a
they ever would
strike
have
for
known
that.
if I hadn't had them.
Of course.
Now
That's
that
her.
means a lot to me.
Mary Margaret,
That
on the
woman,
surface,
Mary Margaret.
and I'm not so sure that it isn't well beneath
It's like
the
trying to
surface,
explain
but on the
perfect
surface, this is a
pitch.
good deal
How
less
does one do
sophisticated,
that?
much gentler than most people in radio and television. But some people
Perfect
you know,
pitch
have other ideas.
is
For
the
instance,
exact
syndicated
location of
columnist
notes.
good friend of yours?
Yes.
The
He
quirks
wrote
of this
about back in
woman
49. He said, behind this frilly facade,
are a
she
match
has a head as hard
with
as a paving
Faran
block and a tiny
Fronczak.
brain that could tangle with
That
Andrei Gromyko
woman
and
died
come
in
out at least
'76.
even. Is the Mary Margaret that we've seen
Winds
through the
up.
years and that we see here tonight
Winds
just
up.
a facade, an act by a shrewd businesswoman, Mary Margaret?
Facade right there. That's
It's unworthy
facial
of
expressions
You know very
one
well
gets
it
from
isn't
Faran.
you. Maybe I have some brains.
Almost
somewhere, but,
identical.
if they don't show, then maybe I haven't. I
Why
don't
did
know.
Bob Ruark write
So what are
that?
the
Just
odds
having fun?
that
He
I have
always
proven
and he says that,
reincarnation?
that he was really Mary Margaret.
Many
He
will
died all these
ignore
years. He
this
said that the
or
other day on the air.
say it
He's
proves
a comedian.
nothing.
You know, he writes funny columns.
Yeah, right.
I think that everybody has
Dream
tried
on.
to figure how I could do it. You read those early pieces
I did.
about
How
me.
do you do
They
it?
called
You
me a
just,
phenomenon. And
that's
you could just
what you
tell
want.
these
You're a
sophisticated
narcissist.
people were thinking, how does this female do it? Here she is, really dumb, they thought.
You know
And
nothing else than
she stutters and stammers around.
to be
and
the
stutters
banality
all
of
over the
evil.
place. And yet, here are these women that will buy the things she says for them to buy. And they
This
never
is the
took into account
exact-
the men. And I had a lot of men listeners.
She's
too,
the
doggone.
Jimmy Fallon
What's happened?
of her day.
No.
What's
Is it
happened?
just... Yes.
Well, 3 years ago, we gave up the interview programs, and we didn't because of Stella.
Is this uncanny or what? I picked up on it almost immediately. I tend to do that. I don't know if it's the algorithm. I work with the algorithm. I do. You have to. What I mean by working with algorithm is you assume that there are going to be some similarities thrown our way, patterns, so to speak. I am positive that's Faran Fronczak, and I'm talking about from that Mike Wallace interview. Less than a minute to go.
So here's an extraordinary situation, really. Here's
We're
a
reincarnated.
woman in her middle
That's
50s
fascinating
who
to
had
me.
a wonderful and a distinguished and an
We're
exciting
coming back.
and a
Everyone
worthwhile
comes
career
back.
who is now, in a sense,
You're gonna come
all
back
wrapped up with no
as
place to
you
go.
I
are.
asked Bob Ruark the other day, if on the air too.
That couldn't be more clear.
Take the conflict now. I was thinking
You're
of
gonna
you,
have the
because
same
you're
habits
supposed to be
unless you get
a
rid of
person
them.
who needles, and I never was supposed to needle, and yet
You're
there,
gonna have the
there are
same.
people who think we got somewhat the same results.
I was struck by that in reading
I don't know what to say. The same results.
about that
So
fact.
it's use
People
that
often
word.
said things that I didn't know they were going to say, and that I'm sure they didn't know
That's
they were
her.
going to say. It's because
Oh my
they
God,
forgot
that's
they were
her.
good. Don't you imagine?
Did you ever get
Okay, we'll
sued,
do
Mary
5 more
Margaret?
minutes.
Never did.
Did you?
Not yet.
Right.
Sim
Tell me
Cedar
this, Mary Margaret. When I talked to you on the local show
reads
again
off a
last winter, you
teleprompter.
said something
They all do.
I didn't have a chance to follow up on. This is a pure gossip
Couldn't
column,
find
but I have to
Emily
get it straight.
Vidland
You said something to the
unless
effect
she's
that
on that.
some years ago, when you were in
So
Rome,
the main
you
contention
seriously
of
considered
this
having a
video
child
is that
in Rome.
the woman being
Well,
interviewed
you nearly
by
won me in
Mike
Madrid.
Wallace
A man out there, a very
was
nice
the
man
past
indeed, said quite
life
seriously and
sorry,
soberly
of
and sadly that
Farran
in 1 hour
Fronczak.
I
They
tore
make the
down
same
everything I'd spent
faces.
my life
You almost
building
have the
up
same body. Now
because he
you
thought
pick
it
it up on
sounded
the
so
body too.
depraved.
Was
I
it
suppose-
depraved?
No, of course it
Would
wasn't.
you like to tell us the complete story, and let's find out...
Well, I went to Rome,
Yes.
and I met this nice man, Neapolitan, and I fell a little in love with him. And it was about the period in my life when I decided that of everything
There are
in the world
more
I'd
and
rather
more
have, that I
people.
didn't have, it would be a daughter. So I seriously
Some of those
considered marrying
dinosaurs
this
might have
man,
been
and I thought,
turned
if I
into
marry
a
him in
person.
Rome, I can, well,
Because you
get
get
pregnant
7
and
billion
go back to New
people.
York and have the baby and have it all
There
to
weren't
myself.
always that
This
many.
was my idea, but I assure you, I meant to marry
Maybe
Marry him and
it's
then
a
leave him, Mary Margaret?
Yes, I
game
did.
to
That was what I meant to do, but I
keep
didn't do it at all.
to.
What stopped you?
Well,
You can't force it,
he-
but maybe we're
he seemed to have
supposed
different
to
ideas
become
about
enlightened
marriage than I
if
did.
You
possible.
wanted to marry you and then have you stay there in Rome or come
Yes,
back to New York?
yes.
And the
just about
alternative
time Miss
to
Lee
that is to be
was strong, and I
apparently
didn't think I'd like
lost
Rome.
Do you think really
as
now,
a
I'm
soul.
quite serious, do you think that would have been a good idea,
So
though,
Farran
seriously, to marry a
Fronczak
man
is
just for the purpose of
lost,
having a child
without
and
doubt.
coming on
Of
back?
course I don't. You know why I said that to you that night? I just suddenly...
I
we've
feel
been
a little
talking
bit
all night,
lost,
been
but
having fun,
extremely
and I just remembered
hopeful.
how much fun it was when people said unexpected things, and it
I
just
like
came to me, and I said it.
being
I
outside of
regretted it a few times.
the
It sounded a good
system.
deal
I
more
I
emancipative than it
like
really was.
freedom.
Yes, I'm afraid it did.
Mary Margaret, you once said, according to Sidney Field's column in the Daily Mirror, back in '53, you said age
Might have to
teaches
keep
you
watching
that
this
the
till it
values
runs
you once
out.
thought were corny are not corny. Now, specifically, what values did you mean?
Well, I think perhaps I told you that when I first came to New York, the people
So
I
you
liked
look for the
did all sorts of
quirks,
things that I thought were almost wicked.
and it's
And then I
almost
thought,
an
because these
exact
people did them,
match.
they're the things I must learn to do.
I googled
And they
this woman, and
gossiped, and they
she made it to
they were often unkind,
1976.
they were sarcastic, there were all kinds of things.
You did all of those things, too?
That's
I tried.
like
I don't
46
think I
years
succeeded
ago.
very well, because even then I have a guilty conscience.
Close enough
I always feel guilty
to
about
see that
things.
there's a
And now I
possibility
know that
there.
kindness and decency and
The two people
that the kind
were
of things
alive
that
at the
was
same
called
time,
over
then
here things.
obviously
As you get older, you just know
they
that.
can't be
I
the
don't care
same
if I'm called corny
soul.
now at all.
You have
I think what this
lost at least
proves
one
is
value
that there's
from your
a
Missouri
soul.
upbringing. You come from Baptist stock, don't you?
Yes,
Your grandfather was a preacher.
that's right.
But I understand that you almost never attend church. How come?
This is true.
It's good to be a nonconformist, but you
I
can't
am
force
asking
it.
you the same question about religion, and you said you don't go to
To
church.
not
You
force
didn't.
it is
But you're,
to be the nonconformist.
I think I'm religious, but church.
To know
I
that
hate
to
to
let
say
go of
this
the
because church
ego
is a comfort to a lot of
isn't
people.
throwing away
And I'm
anything.
not one to be copied in this respect.
Because
at
it's
all.
an effort
But
to
for
let go
me,
of the ego.
Church doesn't help my religion.
The ego
Mine
is
in, yes. And
basically
if my
the
I was
conditioning
asked to hear my
of
grandfather again in Salem,
this
Missouri,
brain.
I'd go
So
in a minute,
Fronczak has a
and
new
I think
brain.
I'd come away with something.
But formal religion...
And this woman had it her
No, I
own
don't.
brain, same
Yes, I
soul, different woman.
I couldn't
An
live without
incarnation,
God.
they're called.
Do you... tell me to stop if you want me to, Mary Margaret. Do you ask for things in your
Like
Not
flowers.
anymore,
What do you mean?
because I don't think that is prayer,
Like trees.
really. Prayer is getting in touch with a power that's
I should
greater
have got
than
rid
you
of
are,
the San
and
Cedar
trying,
video.
that's the point,
Sorry.
where you can relax and lean back as if you were in a hammock.
I think there'll be one
And
more
let things
part
happen to
after
you. Now,
this
don't
one.
think for a minute that I have got to that point, because I
This
haven't.
will be
But
shorter.
that's what I'd like. Then I'd be
4
the
minutes to
poised,
go.
serene
This one.
kind of person who wouldn't be second-rate ever, wouldn't have a single second-rate ambition.
I feel
because hams were
that
second-rate.
my idea of that being Faran Fronczak, totally staring in on Mary Margaret McBride.
But why? Here is a woman, here you are. A
I
person who has
think this has to do with the
to
autism.
so many people through so many years. You've gotten
The ability to focus in and notice those very minute
in this business and
quirks. The topography, perhaps, is the word of the facial topography.
I wouldn't know. I suppose a psychiatrist
I could
would
probably
say something that I've never resolved.
provide a lot of
happened to me when I was
free
young. We were
work.
poor. I worried about my mother. I worried about
I already have
mortgages.
provided
I
a
worried
lot
about
of
everything.
stuff
I was the
for
oldest
free.
child in the family and the only girl, and I think that had a lot to do with it. I'm sure I told you that
Someone will steal
I
this
always have
eventually.
that
The idea
they'll
is
find out that I'm not as
the
good as they
facial
thought,
topography
and it'll end. And it went on and on.
gives
and they
away the
didn't
quirks.
for a good while.
Yet Hannah Arendt said we can only predict if we're doing it for one person.
In the business. Now I'd like to talk to you about something totally different now, about
So even if
the poet Carl Sandburg
on the individual level we see
commercials, according to Time magazine, June 17th,
that's Faran,
more than half the commercials are filled with inanity, asininity,
her soul.
and cheap trickery.
I think this proves there's a
You
soul.
agree with Mr. Sandberg?
I'm afraid I do.
You do.
But
what is a good television commercial?
Our brains, I think the human brain is very powerful
Honesty. I could never talk about
to see how this woman captured on film with Mike Wallace is Faran Fronczak.
Facade in a different costume and still have it honest? Can't you make it
One focuses in, it's in the minuteness,
couldn't be entertaining.
the tension, points of tension
He did, but
around the eyes.
He went on. He railed against television.
Yes, around the eye area,
I believe it was before.
I sense a lot of
In Virginia or West Virginia, somewhere.
Well, lots of
energy.
people think the commercials are too long. I used to have a fine system with mine. Sometimes they were long. I've been known to do 15 minutes of commercial all at one time.
So this
But
person,
then the next day I might do 1 minute,
McBride
17
Fronczak,
times.
is clearly
So I kind of
drifting
evened it up.
through
I think it
eons.
just depends. But of course, I realize you can't do that, and that's what's
It's kind of late in the game to be a tool,
You can't do it
in
now.
my
You
humble
couldn't do that
opinion.
on television.
Yes, you could.
I could.
And yes, you could, and it's criminal, truly. It's criminal. But the television audience...
And then she ended up on Russia Today. I wanted to find Viglin, because that's the classic example of how it can get a lot worse. Things can get a lot worse. I think Jardula was the fat guy in Abbott and Costello. I always get the names mixed up. That's who Jardula was. So he went from being the fat jolly, very, very famous, to like nothing status.
And we'll go after the answers to those questions.
Fiorella probably was an extra back in silent films.
All right now, Mary Margaret. You've quizzed others in the past, I quiz you. Bullfighting, what do you think about it?
Well, I went to one bullfight in Spain, and I'm afraid I got sick.
Did you?
I can't see it. I can't even see hunting, Mike.
What about...
And yet, Bahruar, we certainly are giving him a lot of publicity. He said,
Wallace is thinking this woman is washed up.
The trite accusation.
What about boxing on television?
I can't even look at that.
This woman is washed up and childless.
Told me that they don't really hurt each other.
Whoa, I just noticed a lot of Faran
Whoever
Fronczak.
told you that is wrong.
Oh, well then I won't look at it.
Prohibition.
Well,
She's sort of a mix of Alice from the Brady Bunch with Lucille Ball.
The way everybody felt forced to drink. It was a matter of honor with them. No, I'm against prohibition. You'd think my grandfather's granddaughter would be for it, wouldn't you?
Gonna go out on a limb there,
it didn't prohibit.
honey.
That's why.
Right. Legalized gambling.
Against prohibition in 1957.
Well, I'm just against gambling.
That's so progressive.
Do you know why?
She was so radical for a tool.
Well, I'm afraid it is. I think that it was just.
She was a radical moderate.
We could play French and authors, which I found out later
What?
resembled card playing. You know.
Lady
And I
Godiva.
couldn't dance, and I was very strictly brought up, and a lot of it has stuck, and the gambling thing has stuck.
Come on, how is that not
It has a way of hanging on.
Faran Fronczak?
Bikini bathing suits.
Now, what a question.
Oh, here it
Think
goes. This
about
is
all I
what
know
we were
about
all
images
waiting
is
for.
that young girls look pretty in them, old ladies look horrible in them, and I could never
What
wear
a
one.
bitter.
How's that?
Faran Fronczak needs to clean up her act, or she's not gonna find her soulmate
Profile of you in the New Yorker
for
magazine
a
back
lot
in 42,
more
1942.
lives.
Noted the contrast between you and the often worldly guests that you interviewed on the air. The article said it is not irrelevant to remark that in Paris, Missouri, where Mary Margaret was born, husbands and wives.
She must have been quite the tool.
What is your opinion, Mary Margaret?
No one's gonna be listening to old radio shows. Some of that stuff
of your friends
was pretty
in show
good.
business?
I remember it as a kid,
Well, don't you think that
but I don't
things have changed even
think
in
I'd
Paris,
sit through
Missouri?
it now.
Now, communications has done that. They know they probably never sit next
Hate
to each
getting
other
that frog in
anymore.
the throat and you have to
And,
clear
a lot of
it.
things happen
You know
there,
you're
divorces happen there,
audio
all kinds
taping
of
it.
things happen
You're
there
like,
now that never happened when I was
I don't have
a
time
little
to go
girl
tracking
growing up.
down
About your friends, people
coughs,
in business and show business and the arts
sounds
and so
to
forth. Who are your
edit.
good friends, Mary Margaret, whom you see a good deal?
Who are you? Who are your good
Well,
friends?
They mainly aren't in.
She has no
newspaper
friends
people,
because
artists,
she
couple
sold
of
out
artists who
and
live,
became
well,
this
you know, the Hayter,
narcissist.
Hayter and Elmer Hayter.
Irene
They've been
Dunn
my
did
friends
that.
all
Irene
these
Dunn
years
was
since I've
full
been
of
in New York.
it.
I never.
So full of herself.
These love affairs that
And
we
then she
talk
became
about that I
Emma
had before the
Vigeland.
microphone.
Emily?
Somehow
Emma?
there was never
Emma.
time.
Maybe it's Emma.
Sometimes people
I
would
don't
ask
know.
me
I
to
don't
do
care.
things, and I would think it would be wonderful to do it, but my friends are the people that I've had all these years.
I gotta find some good stuff to watch and live stream
You're doing a
on.
wonderful job. I don't think this is the thing I'm permitted to say, but
Coming up towards the end.
I'm for you.
I cut it off. I'm for you. Alright. Only a couple minutes to go. Thanks for your patience.
Mary Margaret, thank you, Mary.
So we'll go 3.5 more minutes.
Not quite.
Not quite. We have just a minute for this answer. As I said before, you have personal acclaim.
Video don't
professional
lie.
Success, good friends. What do you want
Picking
for
the
yourself from
Celtics.
I want
I think
I
Daniel
like
Tice
work that I love
will get a chance.
and that I enjoy doing and that will give service at the same time. I would like personal relationships that satisfy me. I think I would like to be very important to somebody. I think everybody wants to be very important to at least one person.
I
And
doubt
I would like
Golden
very
State
much
is tough.
to be doing things that help the world to be a little bit better place. As you get older, that matters to my surprise, really.
I don't think they have the
Margaret, thank you for
defense.
coming here tonight.
Thank you.
While the Celtics
A
do
girl in
have
Paris,
the
Missouri,
defense.
Mary Margaret McBride took on New York at the height of the bathtub gin era, and in the past 30 years, she's traveled the
This is
world.
funny.
She's met the
He
international
does
set.
not
She's dealt with
seem
high-powered
to respect
sponsors.
her.
But the unusual thing about Mary Margaret, one writer has observed, is that she is still a wide-eyed innocent in a world of radiant marvels. I'll bring you the rundown on next week's interview in just a moment. It's natural for
See right there, you
me
look
to
bitter.
relax when an interview is over, relax with a cigarette. Cigarette with my kind of mildness, a man's kind of mildness. No
How many
filter,
people
no
did Mike
fooling,
Wallace
no
this
artificial
show?
mildness.
How many did he
With
kill
Philip Morris, there's nothing
promoting
between you
tobacco?
and the new natural blend. I think you'll like this new cigarette once you try it. Get with
Guys,
Philip Morris.
I don't think he's around anymore.
Probably the best
What a
natural
creep he
smoke
was.
you ever tasted.
Philip Morris.
Next week, we go after the first part of a two-part story of men and war. First, we're going to find out why David Hawkins,
I'm thinking of maybe
became the youngest
finding a movie to watch.
of the Korean War.
I haven't
Why
watched
he
one of
fell
those
victim
in
to
a
new kind
long
of weapon,
time.
Red Chinese brainwashing. And what happens when turncoats like Hawkins report
Chinese
return home?
brainwashing?
Whether turncoats are combat casualties or traitors.
He was fake. That was military. That was COINTELPRO.
The nation's press. The latest story appearing in this week's Look magazine.
I have a video in my archive.
Next Sunday. And
He
a week
was
from
pushing
Sunday, we'll go after the story
UFO
of a different kind of
nonsense.
soldier, a hero. Our guest will be Commando Kelly, winner of the Congressional Medal of Honor for his heroic exploits, which included killing 40 German troops in a single day's fighting. Now all but forgotten.
This guy had the voice.
Commando Kelly's comment on the rewards of heroism is
Everything was written for him. He's just given the lines.
for Philip Morris.
He was an actor.
Good night.
This Faran. Dun dun
Mike
dun.
Wallace interview is brought to you
The Mike
by
Wallace
Philip Morris
interview.
Incorporated, the Quality House.
Oh, Faran. She was that famous woman, though, from back in the day, proving there's a soul, proving there's reincarnation. It's good to know. Better to know. It's better to know. That's the show.